Yes,
Sel, man,
yes.
I got so many questions for you, big dog.
Oh,
I got so many questions for you.
I got so
But what
many
went
answers.
wrong with your Clippers? You were in the arena.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah.
What went wrong for your squad?
What went wrong for my squad? And I'm going to be objective. I'm going to do my job. This check is going to clear this Friday because Ty Lue is absolutely correct. I must echo and start there. We didn't run out of gas, as you said. We ran out of battery. I got a Tesla. I got 1, 2, 3 Tesla. All right, so we ran out of battery. And as you know, growing up, before your dad got his job and, you know, your mom and y'all moved up, I heard y'all's story. Yeah, y'all got a little dough. I don't know if you remember the times when you had battery issues and some of your electronics around the house. I know I did. You know, I grew up poverty-stricken, welfare, 2 checks a month, and food stamps. So then when the batteries were messing up and electronics weren't working, first thing we would do is we would rotate them. You know, you got to roll them, right? Then the next thing you do, you would change the order. Like, oh, man, let me put this one over here, put this one over here. Then when you really hit dire straits, when you really were in despair, throw them suckers in the freezer. Let's get one more life out of them, one more juice out of them. That's Ty Lue. He kept changing this order. He messed with the lineups. He said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spin this around. All right, T-Man, come here. I need you to take over this time. All right, T-Man, chill out. I just need you for defensive presence. Pat Beverly, I need you to score a little more. Pat Bev, no, go back being a dog on defense. Rotating them. And then finally, he just put them on the freezer. He said, hey, man, I got to bench some of you guys. I got to just take you out the lineup and see how it plays out. We did everything we could. But I don't know if you've ever been there because you don't have an electric car. You can't run out of battery. Oh, them supercharged stations everywhere. Half them people there is because they almost ran out of battery. We ran out of battery right there, that close to getting our supercharged. Unfortunately, when you lose your number 1 player, your number 4 player, and your number 6 player to even be in this position, Clip City, Chip City, 2022. But we're not exactly where we want to be, and it's only because we ran out of battery.
Sel, such an optimist. I love how you found the silver lining in that. That's not what happened.
What happened?
Not what happened.
What happened?
Let me tell you what happened. Y'all are front runners. The Clippers fans, Clippers faithful, Clipper Daryl, Clipper Marcellus. Y'all are all front runners. What does that mean? That means when y'all are in front, y'all can run. When y'all are ahead by a landslide, y'all do y'all's thing. But when the going gets tough, the tough get going to Cancun, big dog.
Whoa.
Let me tell you real issue. I brought this up during the Jazz series, if you remember. I'll bring it up again. In games decided by 6 points or less, when it's real tight, y'all don't know how to handle your business. We saw that in the games of this series with the whole playoffs. 0-7 in games decided by 6 or less. But games decided by 11 or more, thus blowouts, y'all typically always fall on the right side of victory, on the right side of history, 7-1. Last night was the only game this entire playoff run that was a blowout that y'all did not handle, that y'all weren't the team. Because typically, y'all are always in front. And when y'all in front, just like Pat Beverly, y'all feeling good like you should.
Okay.
But when the other team is ahead, and not even close, when the other team is ahead by a large margin, by a large portion, the Clippers start clippering. Marcellus.
What is that? What is clippering?
Clippering is tricking it off.
Oh, we on this show.
Clippering,
Okay.
Clippering is fumbling the bag, if you will.
Damn.
Clippering is so close, but still so far away. Clippering is good from far, but far from good.
Got them camp goggles on. I know what you're talking about.
You know what it is.
Talk to you
So
more.
that's really what went wrong. I'm not so naive as I'm not going to ignore the fatigue. Obviously, there was fatigue.
Yeah.
Obviously, them boys was tired.
Yeah.
Me and Sel don't come on this show and just stick to one side of an argument and just jargon mindlessly out of one side.
No.
Obviously, there was fatigue. But overall, the collection of Clippers are front runners, and we saw it. Now, with my next lap, we're going to talk about that some star, Paul George, because he's really the reason why this team ain't go far.
Man, don't you do that, because Paul George has so much on his shoulders that you just got to give that man his flowers. But first, let me give the winner his flowers.
Thank you.
Chris Paul.
Yes, sir. We'll talk about him, too.
Chris Paul. You know what went wrong for us? He ain't on our team no more. We needed him last night. Do you know that Chris Paul, after that timeout, when he went on an 8-0 run by himself, outscored the entire Clipper squad, this is the third quarter on, 27-21 by himself.
Sheesh.
Okay.
Sheesh.
When you got 6 days in terms of rest before a series, no excuses.
Okay.
Let me just tell you how it all adds up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then Chris Paul had the COVID. And it sapped him. And I was up here telling you, look, it's going to be different for Chris Paul. It's not going to be good. Whatever. He recovered. He had 6 days before.
Yes, sir.
And then he had about a week to get his legs under him. Boy, did he get his legs under him. So I got to give him his flowers because I should have known this. You can't keep greatness down forever.
That's true.
You can't.
That's a bar.
The things I'm good at,
a bar.
you got a chance. You got to fight chance. The things I'm great at, good luck, dog. I'm going to find a way because you're great at something. Same with you. Same with Chris Paul when it comes to the game of basketball. That old methodical, windy pick and roll going to the elbow.
Right elbow.
Right on me like this Humpty Dumpty basketball was winning out there. And they couldn't stop it because he was using this before he used all of that. Give Chris Paul his flowers. That said, man, y'all better stop. We were missing 30 points. We were missing 7 rebounds. We were missing 57 from the field and 39 from 3 by the name of Kawhi Leonard. We were missing Kawhi Leonard. We were missing Serge Ibaka. We were missing Zubac. We were missing 3 of our top 6 players. That said, no excuses. It's just that would contribute to us running out of battery.
It's some star time.
Really? That's why
This
you dress like
man
that?
is some star
good,
time
dog.
because
You look
what
good,
was
boy.
the real issue?
What's the real issue?
real issue was Paul George.
No, don't
I
do that.
actually am incredibly enthralled, like with Paul George and how he's overcome by things in his career.
Yes.
The gruesome leg injury. Dude has been a
Yes.
all-star, at least by definition, but by play, we got issues. I got to go to the big board, Sel.
Okay.
Now, typically, I go to the big board for America, but today, I'm going to the big board for you because I'm interested in your
want me to
take.
come to-
in this. No, I don't want you to. I don't want you here. I can't keep this losing energy by me, not on today. But y'all got mad at me when I said that Paul George was a some star. But I want to show you what I mean. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. But Paul George, the last 5 playoff games that were game-clinching, where were you? Talk about last night, PG. They needed you, but where were you? I was Marcus Morris, the leading scorer. Big-time plays, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. PG, where were you? What about the Jazz game? It was game-clinching. But PG, Terrence Mann was the best player. Where were you, PG, when your team needed you? T-Man was there, but you the best player on the court. Okay, how about the Mavs series? Now I'm going to give you some grace because Kawhi is a dude, but PG, game-clinching series. T-Man, game-clinching. Marcus Morris, game-clinching. Kawhi, it's not just this year, y'all. It's not just this year. Can we go back to last year? Remember the conference semis against the Nuggets? PG, where were you? Montrezl Harrell? He had more points than you. How about the series before? Last year against the Mavs, PG, big dog. I know Kawhi is better than you, but he's not that much better than you. Sel, all stars are good all of the time, at least in huge moments. PG, to me, is a some star, again, because I just showed you the last 5 playoff games that were game-clinching. PG, where were you, big dog? Sel, I need an answer.
Wow.
I need an answer.
Wow, I got an answer.
Immediately.
I guess you should go back up there because
I can go right
you
back.
need to put Devin
I can
Booker
go
up
right
there right
back.
now. I can see right now you're going to do this to Devin Booker because he got outscored by Chris Paul. Like, this is what we're doing now? We're saying, oh, you use your teammates properly, and now that's going to be a slight? That's going to be a criticism?
Yes.
That's going to be something
Sel,
bad on you?
Can I ask you a question, Marcellus Wiley? We didn't even plan this show, but can I ask you a question? Game-clinching game against the against the Denver Nuggets. Chris Paul had 37 points, and he had 2 turnovers. Game-clinching game last night, the Suns' best player, or at least their greatest player, against the LA Clippers. Chris Paul had 41 points and no turnovers.
Yeah.
Best players make the best plays.
Yeah.
What's up with Paul George?
Dog, first of all, he's not our best player. He's now inserted into our best player role because our best player is out. That's part 1. Part 2, the Suns' best player is not Chris Paul. It's Devin Booker. So if you want to go up there and add Devin Booker to this list because Chris Paul continues to outshine him in the greatest moments, let's do that. Because we are going to argue, is Devin Booker a superstar going forward? Yeah, all that is stalling. You ain't got no answer
It's not stalling.
to this.
How are you going to tell me that Devin Booker is the best player when the Phoenix Suns were not close to even making the playoffs last year? Although they went 8-0 in the bubble, Chris Paul shows up, to quote the great Marcellus Wiley, and all of a sudden they in the NBA Finals. The greatest players are not those just great by name, but those great by game. Paul George is great by name. Why has he not been great by game?
What you just said did not consider that you saw improvement by Ayton. You saw improvement by Booker, and you saw improvement in the coaching staff with Monty Williams as well. None of that says that. All you're saying is they just added Chris Paul and everything changed. That's not how simple it goes.
But still.
Come back on set so we can really talk.
I don't even want to sit next to you, big dog.
I
don't even want to sit next to you.
It's on me.
Because some of that losing Clipper way might rub off on your boy, and your boy looks like a winner today.
You know what? You do look like a winner. I ain't gonna lie. Look, ain't no argument that damn serious to be lying up here. Like, boy, you look crispy.
My dog.
That's a one-piece spicy right there, boy. You looking good. All right, here we go. Obviously, you've never been a man. You've never been a man.
What happened?
I can tell you never been a man. Because you ain't never felt double teams, triple teams. Just can't go nowhere, coach. It's on them today. I got us here, coach. It's on them today. That's what Paul George is going through right now. Why'd you point out Reggie Jackson? Reggie Jackson only had 13 points last night. Reggie Jackson was averaging 22. Look, if Paul George gonna be in a new role and you're gonna give him new responsibilities with that Reggie Jackson,
I like that.
You better like that.
I like that.
I said
I'm not mad.
He's gonna be number two.
I'm not mad, but here's what I'm mad at,
What
Sal.
you mad at?
Paul George. He came out here just 2 days ago with DeMarcus Cousins as his defendant in court and said, how y'all gonna be mad at Paul George? I don't get what y'all see. How y'all gonna talk all this bull-ish about Paul George? 6 for 15, 21 points, minus 25 plus or minus the worst of all the Clippers by a long shot. The best player cannot play the worst. Sal, Paul George had the worst three-point percentage. Sal, Paul George had the second worst field goal percentage. You are the best. You cannot. I forgot I was going to do this, but
You're the best of the rest.
I got to do it.
You're the best of the rest. I got that note.
Here is the problem with Paul George. Y'all know that dude who you tell, hey, come to the party and bring the drinks. You know you can't have a party without no drinks. Now, I don't drink alcohol, so this will be a non-alcoholic party.
Not your house.
So all I say is, hey, PG, come to the party. I need you to bring Sprite, and I need you to bring some Coke. That's it. Paul George, some Coca-Cola. Paul George
sound like lean to me.
Hey, PG, I need you to bring Sprite, and I need you to bring Coca-Cola. Okay. Paul George the kind of dude who's going to show up late. He's going to show up with a 2 liters cracked, and he's going to show up with RC Cola. He's going to show up with RC Cola and citrus drip.
They already open.
Like, he's going to show up late with the drinks open, and he's going to show up with the knockoffs. I'd rather you tell me that and just don't show up because we can plan around you. In the pivotal moments, Paul George, he shows up, but he show up late. And he show up with a knockoff version of himself. Tell me you gonna do that. Then we can plan around you, big dog.
Wow, you really are running with this take, and that's fine, but you gotta come back here. You ever go down a cul-de-sac? I'll be the one on the main boulevard, like, where you going, dog? You didn't see that sign that said dead end? Go ahead, Acho. You'll be back. The Suns had 4 of their 5 starters.
Yes, sir.
Plus or minus 19 or better.
Yes, sir.
Did I say 4? So is Paul George guarding all 4 of those guys? Oh, he's not. They were out-rebounded. Is Paul George going to get all the rebounds? No, he's not supposed to. We got beat up in the paint, points in the paint. After only giving up 32 the game before, we give up, 55? Oh, that's all on PG, too. He played center, too. He bring up the ball. He played, what Giselle say? He got to throw the ball and catch it. That's how you treating him right now. When he's out of his role. I'm going to ask you something serious.
Ask me whatever you want to ask me, Sal.
You ever have to do a show out of your role? Whether you were an analyst and all of a sudden they said host, or you were a host and then they said, we want you to do a different genre. Whatever it is, the assumption is he's going to do great. But also the assumption is if he doesn't do as well, we understand because that's not his.
We understand.
That's not his prescribed role. Paul George was not supposed to carry the Clippers to a championship. He was supposed to be the number 2, the Robin to a Batman that is still in the cave. So don't you dare get up here looking fresh and start yelling at me like that.
Only because you said looking fresh, I'm going to take a little bit of this Cajun seasoning off what I'm about to deliver you.
Sprinkle that mama's cookie.
Here's my problem.
What?
Mavericks, Clippers, game-deciding game. Luka Doncic drops 46.
And what had happened was?
He lost, but at least Luka played his best.
Oh,
Jazz, Clippers, Spidey Mitchell, they lost.
What
but at least Spidey led all scorers with 39. Devin Booker, Lakers. Devin Booker and them, they won. Devin Booker led all scorers with 47. Next series, Suns played the Nuggets. The Suns won. Chris Paul led all scorers. Next series, Suns, Clippers. The Suns won. Chris Paul led all scorers with 41 points. best players,
He's not the best player.
big-time players, make
yeah.
big-time plays in big-time games.
Yeah.
So if you are not making big-time plays in a big-time game, again, I'm not great at math, but that must mean you are not a big-time player. There's only one way that equation will now make sense, because big-time players, big-time plays in big-time games. So if you're not making big-time plays in a big-time game, that means one thing and one thing only. You're not a big-time player. We got to talk about Paul George, and we got to talk about him truthfully.
Wow. Truthfully, we would consider all variables. Truthfully, we will respect the circumstances. Truthfully, I would understand that, and you should understand that Paul George has had too much to overcome. There are situations like that in your world, in your life. Like me right now. You think you're slick. You up here looking your freshest I've ever seen you, and then you tell wardrobe to dress me in these Fakers colors. Got me up here looking like, what the hell?
Who told him I did that?
I got on some Laker colors up in here. I'm gonna take all this off, be butt naked. Boy, you better stop. You got taco meat out too while you're looking at me. And then on top of that, that's what I'm talking about, conspiracy right here. I'm not gonna go as far as say it was calculated, but it certainly was too much for him to overcome. Reminds me of a lot what we do. Acho, I love you. Our debates are a microcosm of what happened to the Clippers. It really is. And I was thinking about this. I was like, I can't say this on national television, but I got to just be honest and show my scars. Acho, a lot of our debates, you're overwhelmed. You're over your head. You're in a position you shouldn't be in. And you fight. You fool people, too. But at the end, what happens? You Paul George. Just some of the times you come. Some of the times you don't. Let me stop.